Support for this podcast comes from St. Alphonsus Sports Medicine, offering services for sports injury and recovery, with physicians and athletic trainers who provide treatment for fractures, dislocations, sprains, strains, and other sports-related issues. More information on services at stalphonsus.org.
Family, work, school, you've got a lot going on. I'm Aisha Roscoe from NPR. We know you're busy, so we've made staying informed easy. The Boise State Public Radio mobile app is a hassle-free way to keep up with the latest news and stories. Whether you're cooking dinner, folding laundry, or just tackling your daily to-do list, staying in the know has never been so simple. Download the free Boise State Public Radio app today, so even when you're busy, you'll never miss a beat. And join me for Weekend Edition every Sunday morning from 6 to 10 on Boise State Public Radio News.
It's the Connector, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. Good morning, I'm Troy Oppie. It's Monday, April 20th. Here are today's headlines. Farmers feeling the pinch from fertilizer prices. Boise State sells naming rights for its student union building. And we'll take you out to the spectacle of the sheep in Eagle from this past weekend. This afternoon in Nampa, the City Council will meet again to try to find a path to appoint a new mayor following the unexpected death late last month of Rick Hogeboom. Last week, the council voted against appointing former Mayor Debbie Kling back to the office, as well as the city's chief of staff, Clay Long. Opposition was centered around a longer and more open process where the council wants to open the position to applications from the community. Acting Mayor David Bills last week expressed concern about the workload that could create. The possibility of using a third party to help with the process was also suggested. There is a looming deadline of Bills' emergency authority to act as mayor, which expires in mid-June. Today's meeting is at 4 p.m. in the Nampa City Council chambers. A survey by the American Farm Bureau finds conflict in the Middle East means 65% of Idaho farmers can't afford the fertilizer they need. Jackson Holmes has more on what this means for Idaho's growing season.
Since early March, fertilizer prices have nearly doubled, and that means farmers across the state are forced to eat the cost. Matt Dorsey, president of the Idaho Farm Bureau Federation and operator of a small farm near Marsing, says early spring is when farmers begin applying fertilizer. He says crops are already not worth as much as farmers put in. Cost of fertilizer only makes that worse.
We're price takers. We don't get to say, hey, since fertilizer doubled in price or fuel doubled in price, we want to charge more or we need to charge more.
The Strait of Hormuz opened to commercial ships Friday morning, sending oil prices falling. On Saturday, Iran closed the strait again. Even if the conflict settles soon, it doesn't mean agricultural costs will improve immediately.
I can tell you it's not going to go down as fast as it came up.
Even before the spike in fertilizer prices, farmers have been struggling with costs like equipment, repairs, and fuel. Dorsey says this makes farmers borrow more money earlier in the year. Some even have to carry those debts for multiple years. Dorsey says the drought declared across Idaho is also going to worsen conditions.
Our long season crops that you're watering throughout the year, you won't be able to have the water to raise that crop.
He only expects a quarter of his normal water supply. Jackson Holmes, Boise State Public Radio News.
Buell, Idaho's Cloverleaf Creamery has voluntarily recalled a variety of its ice cream products due to incomplete pasteurization. That's the flash heating process that kills harmful pathogens in food like dairy. Half-gallon ice cream containers with manufacturing codes between 62 and 106 are affected. Those codes are followed by a -1 or -2. The Cloverleaf ice cream can be returned to its place of purchase for refund or replacement. It should not be consumed. There have been no reports of illness related to this recall, according to a State Department of Agriculture news release. Idaho's Department of Water Resources director has stayed a previous order for curtailment enforcement in the Big Lost, Little Lost, and Upper Big Lost groundwater districts. It allows water users in those areas to irrigate crops now while technical issues related to adhering to the 2024 Water Mitigation Plan are addressed. Last week, a methodology order had been issued demanding that junior rights holders in those districts, rights granted after October 11th, 1900, must be covered by an approved mitigation plan May 1st this year or face curtailment. Enforcement of that order was paused until May 4th. The Valley View School District paid about double the assessed value for a patch of farmland in 2024, purchased from the father of a current school board trustee and a former trustee himself. A report from Idaho Ed News found that Valley View Superintendent Lisa Boyd signed a contract for the $5 million purchase from former district trustee Dave Christensen prior to an appraisal or approval from the current board of trustees. Christensen had listed the 87-acre property in previous years for just under $2.5 million. It was later appraised for $2.67 million. But the district paid $5 million, and the purchase was ultimately approved by trustees on a 4-0 vote. Trustee Clay Christensen, son of the property owner, recused himself from those proceedings, according to records. Boyd told Ed News the purchase complied with state law. She told trustees the plot was the ideal shape and location for a new school in the fast-growing area. That full story is at idahoednews.org. Boise State University will get $8.5 million over the next 10 years to rename the Student Union building after Westmark Credit Union. The naming rights deal was announced Friday and includes the opportunity for what the school called a, quote, micro branch of the credit union in the Student Union building. Income from the agreement will go towards improvements to the sub. The deal comes following a university review of its campus-wide sponsorship opportunities, according to a news release. Fayette National Forest says South Fork Salmon River Road should be repaired and reopened by mid-June. This is the road that washed out earlier this year between McCall and Yellow Pine. The forest announced it has awarded the repair job after a bidding process, and work begins April 27th. The road will remain closed until that work is complete. On Saturday morning, hundreds gathered in Eagle, where Highway 55 meets the foothills, to witness a highly anticipated semi-annual event. Julie Luqueta was there.
With drones flying above, parents with kids on their shoulders and eager onlookers lined up on the side of the highway and onto the neighborhood road, right where the fast encroaching suburbs meet the rolling hills. Police cruisers flashing, officers cleared a path in the crowd.
They're getting on 55 right now, so they'll be here in like 10 minutes or so.
They, in this case, are sheep.
Thousands of sheep, yeah. Lots of people, lots of sheep.
Gabe Garcia is here with his 2 small kiddos to watch the trailing of sheep, 2,400 of them to be exact, as they make their way across the east side of the highway into the grazing highlands of the foothills.
It keeps the rural Idaho still alive, essentially, and I think everyone gets to be a part of it. That's what's really cool about it.
The sheep belong to Wilder rancher Frank Schertz and are making the trek from the alfalfa fields of western Canyon County to the greener and higher pastures of BLM and Forest Service lands.
And wait till you smell it.
Like a soft, thick blanket flowing down the rolling hill, the flock appears in the distance.
Oh, I see them. Ellie, they're coming.
And then suddenly, they are here. And they are hauling. Black shepherd dogs guiding them swiftly across the asphalt. Thousands of ewes and lambs cross the highway in a hurry.
And so there was the herder, and then the lead ewe with the cowbell in the front, and then all the sheep fall in behind.
Steve Stubner helped coordinate the crossing.
I mean, this has been going on since the 1880s, trailing the sheep through the foothills and they follow the green up into the high country. You know, going through this urban zone, it's just a totally different deal. There's definitely some droppings on the highway. But, you know, that fertilizes the soil once they're out here on the range, which is all good.
The rolling flock disappears into the sagebrush hills within minutes, and the crowd is giddy from the whirlwind. This flock of sheep will end up north of Idaho City for the summer before getting shipped to market in August. Julie Luqueta, Boise State Public Radio News.
And if you encounter sheep in the foothills, you're asked to make sure dogs are leashed and dismount any bikes. In sports on this Monday morning, Athletic Club Boise, the new pro soccer team playing at Expo Idaho, got its first home win in franchise history this weekend, a 4-0 thumping of Westchester SC. Dennis Kostashin had 2 goals and an assist for Boise, which now moves into 5th place in the USL League One standings. The team travels to Las Vegas Saturday for a road match against the Lights FC. It's a USL Cup match against a Championship League team. And the Idaho Steelheads enter the Kelly Cup playoffs as the Mountain Division's 3 seed. They'll face the Allen Americans in a best-of-7 series that starts Thursday and Friday in Texas. Boise gets 3 home games, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Game 5 would be if needed. Idaho missed home ice advantage over the Americans by a single point. And that is your connector for this Monday. I'm Troy Appy. I'll be back with you again tomorrow and throughout the spring as our regular host, George Prentice, takes some leave. If you want to stay in touch with the news between now and then, follow our website, boisestatepublicradio.org. And if you want to see hundreds of Boise middle schoolers break a world record for the largest marshmallow fights, you can head to our Instagram page, search Boise State Public Radio, and subscribe. And as always, make it a great day.
You know, every day on Up First, NPR's Golden Globe-nominated morning news podcast, we bring you 3 essential stories. At the heart of each story are questions. What really happened? What really mattered? What happens next? At NPR, we stand for your right to be curious and to follow the facts. Follow Up First wherever you get your podcasts and start your day knowing what matters and why.